Hi, Kara St. Louis here. It's the 1st of October. I apologize for the video quality, but I'm still looking for both the best place in the house to record and the best light, and I need a new camera, but there are just things that have to be done and said, and I'm going to do and say them. And some of that's going to be on film. I have to say today, it seems like we may be approaching critical mass when it comes to this worldwide global vaccine culture. This is something that has affected my life deeply, as it has so very many others. In essence, today I realized that just when you could not get any crazier or scarier about vaccines, something always comes up. Listen, I feel quite sure that we're in a now or never situation with this stuff. Vaccines are nothing more than a eugenics program, gang, with a few frills on the side for the mad scientists who want to use us for experiments. It's exactly the same thing that's going on with geoengineering. There was an original purpose, and lots of crazy people got on board, and military, and black ops and things like that. But underlying it all, the vaccine industry is a eugenics industry, and it's also a create sick people industry. And, you know, in the end, it's probably headed toward transhumanism as well. So what was it today that sparked me into making this video? Well, I tuned in on an online show, one of my favorite alternative news programs in the UK, or anywhere else for that matter. It's called UK Column, and I periodically recommend this to you guys. It's usually hosted by a guy called Brian Garish and his colleague Mike Robinson. Today, Patrick Henningsen was sitting in, as he does every once in a while, and I will put all kinds of appropriate links in the description section under this video, which will be short, but I've got a couple of things to say about this, and I'm gonna say them. Like I said, I've been recommending this show for a while. There's another guest, a doctor, later on in this particular episode today, or broadcast today, that I will also recommend. He recommends an internet site, excuse me, I should rephrase that. He recommends an internet site that I will also give you the link to. First of all, I want to recount an incident that's not so far in my past here. A year and a half ago, maybe, back when I was still teaching in London. We were all together, the teachers and administration and all of that, in an in-service kind of day, meeting of some kind, a seminar, sort of. And autism was mentioned along with some of the other neurological difficulties we see so often in the classroom, dyslexia and such. Then the woman leading the seminar mentioned the pharmaceutical interests in the United States, which she was a bit apologetic because she knew there was an American sitting in the audience. But you know what? My hand shot up. And I said, no, it's okay. We should talk about that. In fact, we must talk about this. That day, the schedule had changed to 72 vaccines for children up to the age of 18. And you should have heard the collective, audible gasp of horror amongst those people. See, while vaccines are everywhere, the assault on children and soon the assault on adults is particularly American. We can talk about why again later. But the story reported today, which is October the 1st, was that Pinterest has been censoring and deleting accounts. Those who have or are anti-vaccine or are vaccine discussion groups, and labeling them as potential self-harm accounts, violating self-harm rules, offering the creators of those mental health services. Okay, frankly, this cannot go on. I had a dream the other night where I was refused entrance to a grocery store unless I could prove I was fully vaccinated. You know, you don't even have to get into the vaccine issues to begin with. Not in this country. Let's talk about the law. Let's talk about choice. 49 states offer 3 opt-outs on vaccines for 3 different reasons that you can opt out, right? And I think California, which is sort of leading the way in vaccine assault, has one, a religious opt-out, but California is putting people in prison for refusing to vaccinate, or jail, sorry, for refusing to vaccinate their children. All right, anyway, vaccine choice is the law. It's the law, okay? The following, let me read this to you, is a message sent to a Pinterest creator by Pinterest. We're reaching out to you. We're reaching out to let you know we removed your vaccine information board because it went against our policies of self-harm. If you are struggling with self-harm of any type, please know that there is help. For treatment referrals, information, and support, check out the resources in our help center. Just to interject, if another person says the word reaching out to me again, the top of my head is going to blow off. We are not all mentally ill, and we are not all reaching out to each other. Reaching out has meaning. We have given it meaning in the mental health industry, or I'm reaching out because I'm troubled and I can't do my own life. So this is for creating and curating a vaccine information board. Well, we cannot have this. We cannot allow critical evaluation of drugs and toxins and bacteria injected into our children from newborn onward without studies mandated by the federal courts, which exempted vaccine makers from lawsuits and accountability to become classified as a mental illness. This is a dangerous, dangerous trend. In the end, what we must demand is a level playing field anyway, and fully informed parental rights. Here's another anecdote. When I was working at the People's Choice, Ike's channel, I tried to get a debate together for the Richie Allen show, I think it was. Anyway, I called people I know here in the USA, Ginger Taylor, and she wanted to bring in Mark Blaxell from the Canary Party as well. And I contacted Paul Offit's, Dr. Paul Offit's office, and I spoke to him, and he flatly refused to come on the show, saying there is no debate. There's no debate. Well, of course there's a debate, but that tactic works wonders if programs won't air an issue unless they can air both sides. Effectively, they're shutting down the opposition, and pretty easily. Recently, I saw a discovery regarding this idea of herd immunity. That's what everyone pulls out when they're pro-vaccine. Oh, the 95% figure, guess what, originally was derived from non-vaccinated measles population. A certain percentage of kids who get measles and get through measles, which is 99.999% of them, translates into herd immunity, not the other way around. And by the way, measles is not fatal or even deadly. What's happening, though, is that our immune systems are tanking, both from not having these childhood diseases to chew on and from the poisons injected via vaccines that cause a red alarm 12 fire engine response from a baby's immune system, and that sets them up for autoimmune disorders and such. And if you say your child is fine right now, well, just wait. Maybe they are. Maybe they are. I hope they are. But these vaccines also can cause infertility, and that was a big old Bill Gates project. In fact, it may seem like a non sequitur, but recently I realized that a film I loved as a child was nothing more than a sermon regarding irresponsible family planning and poverty and all of that, that ended with the miracle of vaccines. Who remembers The Singing Nun? I was at a parochial school for first grade, and I loved my nun, and that year I saw Debbie Reynolds in The Singing Nun, and she went with a song in her heart as a nun among the poor and child burdened, and that's all well and good, I suppose, but her elevation in the end, the calling that made her spiritually high and grand, was to travel to Africa to vaccinate children. Look, I'm back in the US now, and one of the things I'm looking forward to is being able to get involved more in this issue. A few years ago, a political party was formed by a friend of mine, but anyway, it's called the Canary Party. It's mostly comprised of parents of medically injured children. And they're growing quite big now. And I suppose as the numbers soar, they're growing quite strong. Their voices really can be heard. And you may know, I've spent some time recently, trying to elevate I'm going to leave it all in, to evaluate my position in the alternative community, and I'm trying to decide where to put my energy. This is a definite. It's all well and good to spend all your time examining your own belly button sometimes, But this is an adversarial attack, and no amount of working on yourself is going to protect your children unless what you mean by that is exercising your will to push all of this back and away from them and create a generation free of neurodamage, a generation not absconded with by social services because the parents are rejecting vaccines in the hospital and so on. This has got to stop. We want the truth, that's all, just the truth. What's really going on with vaccines? You can't rely on the opinion of your pediatrician in this matter, in my view, as insurance companies pay them tens of thousands in fees, bonuses for 100% vaccination of their patients. That's all they care about. Anyway, I will put the recommendations in the description section. 2 online sources and 1 website for the Canary Party. Please join me in collectively standing against the idea that research and conversation and concern about the poisons that you may be injecting into your child is actually mental illness, because I've never heard anything more absurd in my life. Okay, so this is Kara St. Louis, and there will be lots of these in the near future. Talk to you soon.